So here are the candidates for Feud of the Year. These are also including TNA, of course, like I said before. Bobby Roode versus Lashley.
Great feud.
Bully Ray versus Dixie Carter.
All right.
Daniel Bryan versus The Authority.
Yes, please.
Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins. AJ Lee versus Paige. And The Shield versus Evolution.
Okay.
So what do you think won? Who do you want to win? Who did you vote for?
Can I just say that I voted at least 100 times? I don't know if I really swayed the outcome, but I'm confident that I voted for Daniel Bryan versus The Authority for Feud of the Year.
Did you think that was the Feud of the Year?
Because I did. I mean, that was when I was most immersed. I really got behind Daniel Bryan. I mean, in 2013 when Daniel Bryan was doing the Team Hell No thing, I thought it was funny. I wasn't a huge Daniel Bryan guy though, but when I saw him do his work against The Authority earlier this year, that was when I really got behind him. So I thought that was definitely the most moving Feud of the Year. That's what got me the most immersed in the product.
I think that was also the award that this category last year I think was won by also Daniel Bryan versus The Authority. Because they had that feud in the final half. Exactly, and then they continued in 2014. So, we'll see if it won here. So, winning with 38.6% of the vote, beating out the runner-up, 36.8% of the vote, winning it, Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins. Runner-up, Daniel Bryan versus The Authority.
Right.
I have to agree with this. I thought Dean Ambrose versus Rollins. Bryan versus The Authority was great, but I think early on it was more frustrating. I think more people, we are logical bookers, and even I was getting very frustrated with how they were booking Daniel Bryan, because had Punk not left, had the fans not revolted and whatever else, we would not have gotten Daniel Bryan winning that championship at WrestleMania. So I don't think that was the original plan at all. At least Dean Ambrose versus Rollins. Rollins turns on him in early June. They do it at Money in the Bank, Battleground, SummerSlam, Night of Champions, blow it off inside Hell in a Cell, the main event of the show, and Rollins goes over again, which I think is a good thing, because when Ambrose eventually beats him, it's going to mean something. So what were your thoughts on the Dean Ambrose-Seth Rollins feud?
I've got to say, that was a phenomenal feud. I don't want people to think that I wasn't behind Dean Ambrose on that feud, because I really was. And I think that feud was great, but that feud to me is like Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock 1997, going for the Intercontinental Championship. Those guys one day are going to hit it off huge. They are going to face each other at WrestleMania multiple times. They are going to have great rivalries to come. They're going to write so many more chapters in this book. But I think right now they're at the intermediate level. They're at the we're just beginning this. So for me, it was kind of they're going to have so many more chapters to go in this book of Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins. Daniel Bryan versus The Authority, it was long, it was drawn out, sure. But once it culminated at WrestleMania, I was all on board. So I think Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose was a phenomenal feud. It was probably my favorite feud of the summer. But I just think that it's too early for them to have Feud of the Year. I think once Dean Ambrose is top star babyface, Seth Rollins top star heel, even reverse if you want, because they could do in reverse.
They could, yeah.
Then you're gonna go, all right, this is Feud of the Year right here. But for me, it was Daniel Bryan versus The Authority.
I think the next time they feud, it very well could be over the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Both guys are that great, and I think if it could even happen, like we said before, we were talking about this last night when we were watching Raw, triple threat Shield match. I think if you have a three-way feud with all three of those guys, Reigns, Rollins, and Ambrose, that's a feud that you can do for years upon years before they eventually reunite on Monday Night Raw, which, like you said, and I quote, is going to be insane. And I could not agree more. So I love that feud. I'm glad that one won. Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins.